This team keeps getting better and better. Huskies winning their Big East opener. This is Locked On UConn.
You are Locked On UConn, your daily podcast on the UConn Huskies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Wednesday and welcome back to another episode of Locked On UConn. I'm Matt Schonvisky, a two-time graduate, 10-year credentialed media member, and host of Locked On UConn, the only daily UConn podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network in the world. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and thank you for making this your first listen each and every single day. On today's show, we'll have a full recap of Tuesday night's Big East opener, the win over Butler. Then we'll talk about Solo Ball's breakthrough as he continues to get better and better as the season moves on. And finally, we'll make a bold prediction as the full-strength Huskies look very hard to beat. But first, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. So the Huskies took care of business on Tuesday night. 79-60 in their Big East opener. Finally got their conference opener to be a victory. But they didn't start out great. First TV timeout, 11-4. Gave up a 9-0 run to Butler. Butler came into Hartford and started pushing UConn around. And Hurley lit into the team during that first media break. And right after that, the team got things in gear. So once again, start to finish, they didn't play their tip-top best. But at the end of the day, a 19-point win could have absolutely put this game away there in the second half. Could have been in the 20s. That's something Hurley wants to see. He talked about this post-game. He wants to see, put your foot on the neck, close games, and put things away earlier than they did. Stop letting teams come back in. Went from 20 to 12, 18 to 14. Get that final push, put it over the hump, and close the door. But there's so much to like in this game. We'll talk about Solo Ball in the second segment. We'll save that because that deserves a conversation in and of itself. But where to begin? Let's start with defense. Butler finished with 60 points. They averaged 90 a game. They held a team that averages 90 points to 60. Just a great showing defensively. And where do we begin? Silas Demery. He doesn't have to fill the stat sheet from a points perspective. His defense, shutting down top shooters like Butler had last night, was a great showing. And it's why, and Hurley talked about this postgame as well, it's why the defense has taken such a step forward from last year. Silas Demery. To be able to pick up full court, to put pressure on ball handlers, to cover your top shooters on the perimeter. So while Silas Demery has not excelled offensively, it's going to come. His defense is a huge reason why this overall team defense is where it needs to be. Championship caliber. And then outside of his D, 11 assists, 6 or 7 boards, filling up the stat sheet, doing what he needs to do offensively, setting the table for others on the team that are producing from a points perspective. So that's defense. On the boards, you finally started to see UConn exert themselves. 47-29. Domination on the boards. Domination. And I think a lot of that has to do with effort, hustle, desire, and a willingness to throw your body around and do what is necessary to clean up the glass. So Terrace Reed's getting healthy. He played 21 minutes, 16 points on 8 of 12. Great game from Terrace Reed. We talked about Demery. Mullins put in 12. Jaden Ross. That putback slam off the miss. Woo! Highlight reel. Just one bucket in his 13 that he had on the day. He had 13 points, 8 boards. And listen, he was the odd man out last game. So against Texas Friday night, he didn't play much. And Hurley acknowledged, hey, some of these other guys that you have, some other players in college would sit there and sulk. He'd look at the portal. Hurley would get phone calls from parents saying, hey, why is my kid not playing? Yet Jaden Ross stuck with it. Positive attitude. Most minutes off the bench last night. 25. 13 points, 8 boards, and a tremendous impact defensively. It's the type of piece, just another piece off this bench. Because Jalen Stewart went out. Did not play in the second half. He took a fall. We'll find out more. Hurley thinks shoulder. We'll see what that looks like going forward. But listen, Jaden Ross, such a piece off that bench that you can plug in. Defense picks up energy. Highlight reels. He had 3 dunks last night. Hit a 3. Great player. 4 offensive rebounds. 4. So when we talk about that energy and that desire to clean up on the glass, he's a big part. Huskies shared the rock last night. 19 assists, 11, like I said, from Demery. Just a great showing all around. You got to clean up. You cannot enter. Listen, especially with the performance they've had in their Big East openers over the years, including championship years. You cannot enter into Big East Conference play, and this is why Hurley was so upset. Lackluster at home against Butler. 11-4 is inexcusable, especially given how you performed in Big East openers in the past. But the recovery from that start, up 14 at the half, putting the game away, taking over and dominating the pace, just put their utter stamp on this game. So the Huskies, to me, look great. We'll talk in the final segment what this could mean, what this means long-term and going forward for the Huskies. But listen, you can't ask for more other than start the game better. And these are great situations for a coaching staff because Dan Hurley can just go back and listen, the great performance the rest of that game outside of the first 4 minutes, but that first 4 minutes was porous, completely inexcusable, as Hurley said post-game. And it gives him more things to point to in practice to get this team's mindset right, to continuously improve until this group is a finished product, and they are still not there. We'll talk what that means long term. But first, on the other side, we'll talk about Solo Ball and his performance last night. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift, a receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown scorers, drive results, totals, and more. Keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Back in on Locked On UConn, and post that 79-60 win over Butler, the biggest bright spot offensively, Solo Ball. Completely out of his early season slump, continues to lead the Huskies in scoring, put in 26 points last night. 26 points on 8 of 14 shooting. So efficient. 50% from 3 of 6. Just his upside as this season progresses. If he continues to excel like this, goodness. He's got a chance to really become who I see as a comp for him, which is Russell Westbrook. I've seen it in his game since he started. The way he attacks the rim, the way he's able to finish, the way he's able to put up threes. His game reminds me a lot of Westbrook's game. And we're seeing more and more of that as this season unfolds. To the point where he can absolutely take over games like he did last night. In his focus, post-game, he's talking about how he entered with a mindset of play good defense. Play good defense, take your mind off of things offensively, and the offense will come. And that's exactly what happened last night. His ability on the break to find the open spot is exactly what this team needs in transition. His ability to get to the rim, to take the pressure off other guys, to draw in defenders. He only had 2 assists, but he has a chance to, as he continues that, help other guys as well. And Dan Hurley talked about Solo Ball's upbringing and how you're never going to know whether he's shooting poorly or shooting well. And how his development over the years, even before he got to UConn, allows him to put situations where he's not at his best offensively behind him and focus on the next play. It's a mindset like a defensive back on the football field. Don't worry about what happened previously. Focus on the future. Focus on the next play. Focus on how you're going to help the team moving forward. And Solo Ball's mindset and that approach allows him to turn the page and allowed him to turn the page from some of his struggles earlier in the season. Because his 26 points, I don't think that's the last we see of a career high for him this season. I think there's an opportunity that he's going to be in the 30s quite a bit. He's led the team in scoring 4 of the last 6 games. Illinois, East Texas A&M, Florida, Butler. And it's only going to continue. And as teams focus more on him, he's got the ability, Russell Westbrook style, to get others involved as well. So if doubles start to come, he could just kick. And you've got Braylon Mullins, you've got Caravan, and you've got Silas Demery, who I still think is going to be a key factor offensively going forward in key situations, because that's the type of player that kid can be. So listen, Solo Ball has a chance to do something truly special here the rest of the season. His scoring is going to continue to come. He's going to continue to knock down outside shots. And it's going to help this team progress as we move forward. And what does that mean? We'll talk about that. What the long-term outlook is for this team after the break. The holidays are here, and whether you're hosting family, planning the perfect gift, or just trying to keep things simple and delicious, Omaha Steaks is making it easier than ever. From effortless holiday entertaining to unforgettable gifts, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience straight to your door. And what makes it even better? With Omaha Steaks, you always know exactly what you're gifting. USDA certified tender steaks, premium proteins, gourmet sides, and decadent desserts that make anyone feel appreciated. I love how easy it is to gift. It shows up frozen, packed beautifully, and ready to cook. The steaks are perfectly aged and insanely tender. It's restaurant level at home. They have so many options: steaks, burgers, chicken, pork, seafood, desserts, something for every kind of holiday gathering. It's become one of my favorite last-minute gifts because it feels thoughtful without requiring any stress. Save big on gourmet gifts and holiday favorites with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com, and for an extra $35 off, use code COLLEGE at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code COLLEGE. Back in on this Wednesday edition of Locked On UConn, final segment of today's show. And listen, I want to take this time to look ahead, to project out what could be transpiring here over the back half of the year. As Big East play continues, we get into March, Big East tournament, NCAA tournament. What's the outlook? I project, and I think all the evidence in the world suggests, with UConn still not peaking, the top end of this year's roster is the best in college basketball. To the point where I don't think anyone else's top end is as good as UConn's. And what does that mean? I think it absolutely means 3 out of 4 is on the table. And I'm not somebody that will sit here and prognosticate something that is not a realistic possibility of happening. But with what we've seen this team so far this year, not full strength, be able to overcome on the road, at MSG, at home, against big name opponents. The top end and what this team can be at their peak, I don't think anyone else can compete with. From a depth standpoint, from a scoring standpoint, from a defensive standpoint. And now, if they can rebound like they did last night, we're talking about 23 level depth in performance and capability. Their one loss this year at home against Arizona, they were out rebounded. They were minus 20 on the glass. Minus 20. Yet they only lost by 4. Short-handed, no less, with no Terrace Reed. It's tough to look back and say, yeah, what could have been if Reed was in there. But I think we can honestly take a true perspective of things, or assessment of things. And if Terrace Reed was there that game, healthy, in condition, I think that game could potentially go in a different direction. And if there's a rematch to be had later in March or early April, this team at full strength is a lot better than that group that showed up at Gamble that night. So the depth, the rebounding, and the defense. I don't think we need to talk about offense. You're going to be able to score in any game because you are so deep. And if one guy's not giving it one night, well, you've got another guy that could do so. We talked a few shows ago. You got 6 guys averaging between 9 and 15 points. So they're going to be going with the hot hand. Last night it was Solo. It's been Solo for the last 6, like I said. But if Solo has an off night, you're more than capable from the perimeter. And then if the outside game's not working, pound the rock down low. with a healthy Terrace Reed. So there's so many options on this team. They're so deep if they got into foul trouble that they're not really behind the 8 ball if one or two guys gets an unfriendly whistle. And if Dan Hurley can get this team to put the effort in on the boards like we saw last night, I think this team is unbeatable. And that's a statement that it's a big one. But I think fans can start looking at this team and 3 out of 4 is on the table. And put themselves in dynasty standpoint. Dynasty category. 3 and 4 years truly puts them there. And Alex Caravan being the part of that. Being a leader in this year's team. With all the experiences he's had. Just adds to it. So yes, all the talent's there, all the depth is there, all the rebounding is there if they put the effort in. The defense is going to carry them. But if things get tight, you've got Caravan there who's been through all the battles. He's been through all the situations that this team can turn to from a leadership standpoint, him and Hurley and the rest of the staff. Say, hey, we've been there before. We know how to handle this. So I think the rest of this year is going to be a very special back half of the year. I think you have an opportunity to do some things in this Big East Conference this year that some of the championship teams over the last couple of years have not been able to do. So I think it was very important this team challenged themselves out of conference, because I think maybe the rest of this conference has taken maybe a step back a bit. So you've gotten those battles out of the way. You've prepped yourself. Now, as Hurley talked about, and I've talked about the last couple shows, when I'm talking men's basketball, getting comfortable with that rotation. Settle in everybody's roles. Everyone knows how they're going to be handled throughout the game. And as things settle, that's just going to propel this group even more forward. So listen. It's a lofty statement. NCAA tournament favorites. But I see it. I see the path. I see what this team has. I see the roster. I see the coaching staff. And I see improvement in the areas they need to improve each and every game. So Hurley can look back at the start last night and see, hey, what do we need to improve? Hold his team accountable and continue to get more and more out of this group as the season progresses. So with that, thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Locked On UConn. Please hit the like and subscribe button. And for a second listen, check out Locked On Sports Today, hosted by Peter Bukowski, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, go Huskies!